With the conventional double-pole signal lamps or triple-pole signal lamps, signal may go blank either due to failure of signal lamp or due to interruption in power supply. Filament lamp life is about 1000 hours. This necessitates replacement after 45 days for on aspect and 90 days for off aspect. Replaced lamp requires focusing and adjustment. With increased signal gears, for signal technicians this is a huge task. RDSO developed LED signal units with life of about 1 lakh hours. LED signal units are available in two models, that is AC or DC operation. LEDs that have been developed have a luminous efficacy, lumens per watt, exceeding that of incandescent lamps. The relatively small lumen package by a single LED, dozens of LEDs used together to produce even a modest amount of light. For LED signals, 30 to 80 numbers of LEDs are packed to create the high luminance signal phase that is required by specifications. For example, for red and yellow LED signal units, 54 numbers of LEDs are used. For green LED signal unit, 30 number of LEDs are used. For calling on LED signal unit, 30 number of LEDs. For route indicator, 19 number of LEDs, and for shunt signal, 13 numbers of LEDs are used. Sensors: 07 numbers for main aspect, 3 numbers for route, and shunt are available. Improved visibility. Recommended is 600 meters, actual between 1.5 to 2 kilometers in bright daylight. Less strain in loco pilot as no glaring of aspects in the night. Long working life. There is no phantom effect due to reflection of sunlight, headlight of loco. Lower power consumption, 15 watt. LED lamp is pre-focused and does not need external lenses. LED lamps are compatible with existing units, can be retrofitted. DC power feeding possible, thereby eliminating transformers. Wide voltage variation in power feed is tolerated. AC immunity up to 300 volts dispenses with cut-in relays. One design of ECR for all LED signal lamp application, including shunt signal and route indicator. LED signal unit comprises of the following units: LED signal aspect unit, universal current regulator for main aspect only, health monitoring unit for main aspect only, recommended ECR, LED signal aspect unit, inside color light signal unit. It comprises of a cluster of LEDs in series and parallel combinations. LEDs in a signal aspect are arranged in more than one array so that in the event of a failure of even a single LED, whole unit does not become blank. LEDs in the arrays are interleaved so that effective failure of any array is spread out equally to maintain uniform visibility. All aspects, except route and shunt, use 2 arrays for higher noise immunity and also provide the redundancy. LED in each array are an electrically independent path so that failure of any LED does not affect operation of other LEDs. The optical sensors are provided for each aspect, and output from optical sensors is given to the current regulator unit for corrective or alarm action. A few LEDs in the signal unit are so arranged as to ensure near visibility of 5 meters so that the signal is clearly visible to a driver stopping at the foot of the signal. It should be placed inside color light signal unit by removing inner-outer lenses, lamp and lamp holder assembly. Universal current regulator unit, inside color light signal unit. LEDs clusters in a LED signal lamp are fed constant current irrespective of input supply voltage fluctuations by current regulator. It consists of solid-state variable resistance controlled by feedback from sensors. Detects failure of 20 to 25% LEDs, 20 LUX plus or minus 15%, and if lumens output of LED unit fall below threshold limit. It is available for main aspect LED signal unit only. It shall be placed inside color light signal unit and require 1 unit per aspect, with power supply voltage between 82.5 volts to 137.5 volts. All the LEDs of the LED signal unit should glow with full uniform brightness. Depending upon the option blanking or non-blanking, either to bring down the current to 30 mA as cutoff supply to LED signal unit. It facilitates the use of existing ECR, on-off UECR by shorting the pins on current regulator as per on or off ECR to be used. If optical sensor detects signal blank or dim, it reduces the current to 30 mA to generate alarm and cut off the aspect. Health monitoring unit. It comprises of a motherboard, power supply card, and 8 monitoring cards. For every LED unit aspect, 1 monitoring card is required. It monitors the current leakage in cable. It monitors the current aspect of control circuit and gives buzzer accordingly. It works in conjunction with current regulator to drop ECR depending upon the feedback from sensor in LED unit and blanking or non-blanking option. LED signal. Jumper setting for ECR and cascading. 1. Make the jumper setting on universal current regulator and health monitoring unit to suit ECR. 2. The availability or non-availability of cascading and aspect control circuit. 3. Make the jumper setting blanking or non-blanking on UCR accordingly. 4. Check whether HMU is in circuit or bypass mode. Ftronics make. Description. On current regulator, jumper settings for running signal. On HMU, relay type. On current regulator for ECR. For ECR on relay rear side. For bypass HMU from circuit. To connect HMU in circuit. On rear side of relay base. Blanking. Non-blanking. AC 110 IP supply and AC LED ECR. DC supply 110 volt and DC LED ECR. AC supply and conventional ECR. 1, 3, 1 and 4, all 4 A and B links. 2, 4, 1, 5, 2, 5 and 7, 3, 6 and 8, all 4 B and C links. 6, 7. General Auto Electrical Corporation make. IP to HMU is 24 volts DC. 1 and 3, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, all 4 X and Y pins on LHS of base. All 4 X and Y pins on RHS of base. 5 and 6, 7 and 8. Power Technology Corporation make. Shunt and root. Calling on. On LED signal unit. For ECR on the aspect monitoring card. On rear side of motherboard. 2, 3 and 6, 7. 1, 2 and 4, 5. 2, 3 and 5, 6. 1 and 2. 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 4, 5. 2, 3 and 5, 6. 8 and 9. 9 and 10. 1, 2, 4, 5 and 7, 8. 2, 3 and 5, 6. 2, 3, 5, 6 and 8, 9. 1, 2 and 5, 6. 1, 2, 5, 6 and 7, 8. 2, 3 and 4, 5. Urban Engineering make. 110 volts AC for AC version. 4, 5 and 7, 8 and 10, 11. 5, 6 and 8, 9 and 11, 12. Con ECR, LED ECR, all these link for bypass, all these link for normal. ECR for LED signal unit of AC model. Universal plug-in type, tractive armature AC lamp proving relay is used. Maximum pickup current equals 90 mA, AC 50 Hz. Minimum release current equals 60 mA, AC 50 Hz. This ECR withstands for a continuous current of 250 mA, AC 50 Hz. Contact configuration 4F to 4B identically in A to D rows. Voltage drop across R1 and R2 is less than 10 volt at 125 mA AC normal working current. DC ECR for LED signal unit of DC model. Universal plug-in type tractive amateur DC lamp proving relay is used. Maximum pickup current equals 80 mA by DC. Minimum release current equals 55 mA DC. This ECR withstands and continuous current of 200 mA DC. Contact configuration 4F, 4B identically in A to D rows. Voltage drop across R1 and R2 is less than 10 volts and AC model, suitable with existing color light signal units in RE and non-RE area. 1. Main signal. Red aspect, yellow aspect, green aspect. 2. Calling on signal. 3. Route indicator. 4. Position light shunt signal. Only one type of ECR helps in reducing number of spares, and hence cost as current of any aspect will remain 125 mA AC by 105 mA DC. Sticker provided may be put on the current regulator to indicate the selection. Remove both the lenses of the aspect. Remove the bulb holder, bulb and transformer. Install from the rear side the LED aspect on the 4 mounting screws of the roundel. Current regulator is universal AC or DC field selectable. Select the operating mode as follows: ECR type, conventional, AC ECR, LED AC ECR, or LED DC ECR as per RDSO guidelines. Cascading mode: on aspect non-blanking, off aspect blanking. Lighting supply, AC or DC. Universal current regulator helps to maintain common inventory on railway and flexibility to change or upgradation. Install current regulator on the mounting screws of signal transformer. Connect the 3-pin and 2-pin screws on output connector of the current regulator to the aspect. Connect AC, DC in case of DC signal input. Spray CRC spray on the input connector of current regulator and put protection cover to avoid external interference. Parameter: main signal, calling on signal, route indicator, position light shunt signal, AC model, DC model. Rated voltage: 110 volt AC plus or minus 15 degrees, 110 volt DC plus or minus 15 degrees. Wattage: 15 watt, 12 watt. Current at rated voltage per unit: 125 mA to 130 mA, 100 mA to 105 mA, 25 mA to 28 mA, 22 mA to 25 mA, 55 mA to 58 mA, 45 mA to 48 mA, Color: red or yellow or green. Yellow, lunar white. Do's: use 600 mA fuse in signaling circuit. Select blanking mode off aspect and non-blanking mode for on aspects in current regulator of main LED signals. Ensure all terminations in CT rack, junction box, LED signal lighting unit, current regulator and HMU are tight and clean. Polycarbonate cover of LED signal lighting unit may be cleaned with soft and anti-static cloth periodically. Check installation once a year by disconnecting the interconnecting cable between CCR and LED signal lighting unit of main signal to check audio-visual alarm and correspondence of ECR. Ensure upgradation or modification, if any, as advised by RDSO. Don'ts: don't leave loose connectors between LED signal lighting unit and current regulator. This may cause false operation. Don't leave loose wire on input terminals of LED signal lighting unit and current regulator. This may cause false operation. Don't connect wires at wrong input terminals for AC or DC power supply. Don't try to interchange connections of LED signal lighting unit, current regulator or HMU. Don't use fuse of more than 600 mA rating in signaling circuit. Don't try to give direct supply to the LED signal lighting unit of main signals. Don't carry current regulator by its cable. Don't carry hanging LED signal lighting unit connected with current regulator. Don't insert or remove cards or units when system is on. General: serial number, checkpoint, requirement, actual at site, general requirement. LED signals are procured from RDSO approved sources with RDSO inspection. Yes. Installation maintenance staff is trained at manufacturer's premises. Yes. Meter used for measurement in case of AC power supply. True RMS. LED signal lighting units have undergone burn-in for 72 hours before putting into use. Yes. Rating of fuse used in signal lighting circuit, 600 mA. Current regulators, CRs of main signals have been configured in blanking mode for off aspect and non-blanking mode for on aspects. Yes. HMU along with audio-visual alarm unit has been provided for main signals, HMU in relay room and audio-visual alarm unit in ASM's room. Yes. HMU is not provided for other than main signals. Yes. Yes. Conventional ECR, if used, is as given below. Yes. Make: ABB, Siemens, CGL. Hytronics: conventional ECR, on metal to metal, off metal to metal, on metal to carbon. Suitability with LED signals. If used, to be as per table as given in previous column. Main signals: route indicator, shunt, calling on signal. Circuit requirement for main LED signals. Signaling circuit is such that in case of failure of an aspect, more restrictive aspect starts lighting, that is cutting in of aspects provided. Yes. Red lamp protection provided. Yes. Every aspect has individual return path. Yes. Checks for main LED signal. Signal number and aspect. Example: 1R, 1Y, etc. Remarks: voltage fed to power supply of HMU for main signals as per manufacturer's manual. Less than 95 volt, 22 to 26 volt DC, less than 95 volt AC as applicable. Jumper selection and wiring termination. Proper jumper selection and wiring termination on CR is done as per manufacturer's manual as applicable. Jumper selection. 1. Blanking, non-blanking. Blanking mode for off aspects, non-blanking mode for on aspects. 2. ECR type. AC LED, AC conventional, or DC LED. 3. Power supply, AC or DC. Proper jumper selection and wire termination in HMU is done as per manufacturer's manual as applicable. 1. ECR type, AC LED, AC conventional, or DC LED. 2. Power supply, AC or DC. Terminations on CR and HMU are proper and properly tight. Yes. Interconnecting cable between CR and LED signal lighting unit is properly connected and tight. Yes. Mounting screws of LED signal lighting unit, CR and HMU are properly tight. Yes. Check for HMU, audio-visual alarm and correspondence of ECR. After taking off an aspect, disconnect interconnecting cable between CR and LED signal lighting unit from LED signal lighting unit. In case there are two interconnecting cables between CR and LED signal lighting unit, disconnect the cable other than optical sensing cable. The cable with 2-pin connector is optical sensing cable. 1. Aspect at sight extinguishers and more restrictive aspect lights. In case of red aspect, signal in rear goes to danger. 2. Aspect fail status appears in HMU as per manufacturer's manual. 3. Audio-visual alarm appears in audio-visual alarm unit in ASM's room. 4. On acknowledgement, audio alarm silences but visual alarm continues. 5. ECR of the aspect drops. Reconnect disconnected cable and take off the aspect again. 1. Aspect at sight lights normal. 2. Aspect OK indication lights in HMU. 3. ECR of the aspect picks up. Check for HMU, audio-visual alarm and correspondence of ECR. Disconnect the optical sensing cable, that is the cable with 2-pin connector, from LED signal lighting unit. 1. In case CR is configured for non-blanking mode, aspect at sight lights with deteriorated illumination with input current of CR restricted to 40 mA. In blanking mode, aspect at sight extinguishes. 2. More restrictive aspect lights. In case of red aspect, signal in rear goes to danger. 3. Aspect fail status appears in HMU as per manufacturer's manual. 4. Audio-visual alarm appears in audio-visual alarm unit in ASM's room. 5. On acknowledgement, audio alarm silences but visual alarm continues. 6. ECR of the aspect drops. Reconnect disconnected cable. 1. Aspect at sight lights normal. 2. Aspect OK indication lights in HMU. 3. ECR of the aspect picks up. After taking off an aspect, remove fuse from its aspect monitoring card in HMU. 1. Aspect at sight extinguishes and more restrictive aspect lights. In case of red aspect, signal in rear goes to danger. 2. Aspect fail status appears in HMU as per manufacturer's manual. 3. Audio-visual alarm appears in audio-visual alarm unit in ASM's room. 4. On acknowledgement, audio alarm silences but visual alarm continues. 5. ECR drops. Restore fuse. 1. Aspect at sight lights normal. 2. Aspect OK indication lights in HMU. 3. ECR of the aspect picks up. After taking off an aspect, remove fuse from power supply card of HMU. 1. Aspect at site lights normal. 2. All indications of HMU extinguish. 3. Audio-visual alarm appears in audio-visual alarm unit in ASM's room. 4. On acknowledgement, audio alarm silences but visual alarm continues. 5. ECR remains pickup. Restore fuse. All indications pertaining to normal status of HMU reappear. Checks for LED signals other than main signals. Input voltage available to signal aspect on load at site less than 95 volt. Jumper selection and wiring termination. Proper jumper selection and wiring termination is done on LED signal lighting units as per manufacturer's manual as applicable. Jumper selection. 1. ECR type, AC LED, AC conventional or DC LED. 2. Power supply, AC or DC. Terminations on LED signal lighting unit are proper and properly tight. Yes. Mounting screws of LED signal lighting unit are properly tight. Yes. Performance test for shunt signal. Performance of shunt signal with 2 shunt lighting units and ECR in CCT. On aspect, ECR picks up. Off aspect, ECR picks up. Performance of shunt signal with only pilot lamp unit and ECR in CCT, the other shunt lighting unit to be disconnected. On aspect, ECR drops. Off aspect, ECR drops. Reconnect the disconnected shunt lighting unit. On aspect, ECR picks up. Off aspect, ECR picks up. Performance of shunt signal with shunt lighting unit other than pilot lamp and ECR in CCT, pilot lamp unit to be disconnected. On aspect, ECR drops. Off aspect, ECR drops. Reconnect the disconnected pilot lamp unit. On aspect, ECR picks up. Off aspect, ECR picks up. Performance test for route indicator. After taking off route indicator with ECR in CCT. ECR picks up. Disconnect any one route lighting unit. ECR picks up. Disconnect one more route lighting unit. Total 2 route lighting units disconnected. ECR picks up. Disconnect one more route lighting unit. Total 3 route lighting units disconnected. ECR drops. Reconnect any 2 disconnected route lighting units. ECR picks up. Reconnect remaining 3rd disconnected route lighting unit. ECR